Hello, grade 7. This is Mr. Adair here, coming to show you a little bit about a program that we're going to be using called MindMeister. Now, I know that some of you have used graphic organizers before, and some of you have used mind mapping before. One of the reasons why Ms. Vogt and I are having you use MindMeister this time is because a lot of us are learners in our writing, a lot of us like to do research, but some of us are visual learners, so we're going to give an opportunity for people that are visual learners a chance to show their learning. So on our summative assessment, you guys are going to be working on refugee projects, and one of the things that you're going to be doing is looking at different refugee crises. And for your summative assessment, which by the time you see this, you will probably have seen the rubric, you are going to be picking a refugee crisis, and you're going to be doing some research on it. So the summative is actually going to be split between 2 days. On the first day, you're going to be looking at some crises, and you are going to be doing some reading. On the second day, you're going to be showing you learning with a program called MindMeister. So I just wanted to show it to you right now and show you some of the tools and specs for MindMeister. Okay, so let's maximize this here. So I have already put a couple things here on MindMeister just for us to see some examples, but I'm going to delete some things just so you can see how I put them in here. Okay, so this central box is what is called the master topic. And the master topic is basically what your project is going to be about. So this one in particular is Syrian refugees, and look, I already misspelled it. Refugees. Okay, so this is the master topic, and this is Syrian refugees, and I have made it a little bit more interesting by adding some images, and these are side topics. So we have our master topic and our secondary side topics, and then we have what is called here a tertiary topic, which is a third subcategory of the master topic. So let's look at some things here. So I'm going to delete this stuff and show you, whoops, you can't push to the right, you got to actually grab and move. And what I mean by that is you need to take your cursor and you need to grab and move. You can't just push left or right. So this is my master topic, and right here I'm going to delete that. Now, starting with my master topic, I'm going to add some secondary topics. So when you are using or when you're doing the summative assessment, you have your master topic, but there are a couple different topics that you need to talk about, including the history of the refugee crisis, why is it happening, and then you also need to think about what is the experience like for these people when they leave their countries. So it's not just a push factor, it's also a pull factor. And some of the push factors can be things like war or natural disasters, and some of the pull factors can be things like opportunity or education. But in some cases, refugees don't find that the pull factors were as advertised, meaning it's not what they thought they were getting into. And a lot of these situations, people think, oh, I'm going to be accepted with open arms, but then they find some backlash from the native citizens of that country. So that's something that you're going to have an opportunity to look at as well. So let's just, I gave you the reasoning behind this, but let's look at some technical aspects of MindMeister. So again, you have your master topic, and I'm going to add some subtopics, okay? Now, one of the first things that you need to do before you even get into any of your subtopics is you need to click up here on the eye, and you need to think about how does your brain like to organize things? There's many different ways that you can organize how this is going to look. It could be soft bubbles with curvy lines, or if you're a more linear person and like boxes, you can make it more boxy, and you can make it a little bit more sort of organized, right? And not just sort of like a blob of bubbles on a screen. So I like it a little bit boxy, but I also like the soft lines. So I'm sticking with the boxes, and I'm going to create a subcategory. So let's say history of the Syrian refugee crisis. And I want to make it look cool, so I have a couple different options. So I have my master topic, I got my side bubbles, and I want some information. So I already went through and downloaded an image on my desktop. So I'm going to browse my image library, and I'm going to come in here, My Images. Oh, don't have My Images. So let's just go ahead and put an image here. Let's just say danger. So history of the Syrian refugee crisis, there is a danger going on here. So then I can come up to my master box, and I can click on images again, and I can add another image. All right, so upload new image. Oops, sorry, maybe later. Let's just stick with the stock images. So then I can say, what is another push factor? So I can say lack of education, and I can put a graduation hat. Okay, so on one side, the way my brain works, on one side I want to have the push factors, and then on the other side, I did it again. So remember, you have to grab. You can't just, when you touch the cursor to the side of the screen, it goes back to the main page. So I need to grab and pull over. Now, so we have our push factors on this side, and then on the other side, we want to have pull factors. So I click there, and I can say pull factors. And what are some of the pull factors here? We got a little briefcase. We can say work. And one of the things I can do is I can move this around, right? So we have our pull factors on the left side. We have our push factors over on the right side. Now, like I said, you can have tertiary topics. So with the history of the Syrian refugee crisis, you can also talk specifically about maybe the Assad regime, which is the presidency that has forced a lot of these people out. So if I am clicked in this box, it'll have a blue border around it, which means this is clicked. I can click the plus sign, and it gives me a tertiary box. So I can say Assad regime, and let's see if there is an image. Use web image. Let's upload. Let's see, add image. Okay. Looking here. So I don't know exactly why I added this ID card, but you can see how that works. Okay, now you can make it a little bit more attractive, and you can make it a little bit more interesting by adding a bubble around your secondary and tertiary topics. So the bubbles that I have right here are different options. So let's add this green bubble, and we can add another green bubble. So it adds a green bubble around these topics. So you know that all of these topics have to do with the same subtopic and tertiary topics. Okay, so I can come down here, that's highlighted. I can add a tertiary box right here, lack of education, university was destroyed in Damascus. Right, so we know that during the war, the main university was destroyed in Damascus, so students can't go there anymore. So now I can highlight this one. We have our green bubble up here, and I can go to blue, and I can go to blue right here. So I'm going to add this topic is going to be blue, right? Now I can move these around if I want to. They're going to stay in the same bubble. Keep doing this. Sorry, everyone. Stay away from the left side. Always grab the screen instead of pushing your cursor to the left side. So now we have 3 different topics. We have our push factors on the right. Let's edit this, and let's actually call this push factors. Factors. So we know that on the right side we have push factors, and on the left side we have pull factors. Now, again, to make it a little bit more attractive, we can add videos. So if I want to, I could go get a link and add a video. If I want to, I can go to my desktop and add a desktop. If I want to, I can drag and drop files. So maybe you want to have a Google file that is going to have a little bit more information, or maybe it's a primary document that you can put over there. There's functions right here. I can put a check mark on something. I can also put in a comment. So this was a terrible situation, right? I can add that comment and it'll go on there. So if you want to, when you share this with someone, they can also click on it and they can see a little bit more information. Because with a mind map, you don't want to have too much information. You want it to be sort of a general overview. The way I like to look at it is a picture of my brain and how I think about something. Okay, so a couple more things that you can do. You can change the color on things. You can change the font. You can change the way the bubbles look, right? I changed it to pink. I changed it to yellow. I changed it to black. You can make this look however you want. These are the bubbles that contain everything like you see here. This changes the font and the size, bold, italic. Okay, so again, just in sum, in finishing up, for the fourth time. Sorry, everyone. It's really easy to do that. One of the other things I didn't show you was you can move around these. So you can organize where they are, organize where you want to see them. This button up here, sometimes these mind maps get huge and you are way up here looking at something and you want to recenter down to the master bubble. You can just hit the bullseye and it'll take you down here. Or you can make it a lot smaller or you can make it a lot bigger so you can organize your thoughts. Okay? So a couple of the most important things. When you start, make sure that you go through here and you select how do you want to make this look. And it can look a lot of different ways. It's just a representation of what your brain looks like. You have your pictures here. You can add pictures, you can add videos, you can add attachments. You can, when you make mistakes, you can always exit out or you can go back. So I just changed something on the structure. Now I can go back and it'll change and go back to how I had it before. Okay, this is adding bubbles. So I'm adding bubbles. So I added a tertiary bubble onto my secondary bubble from pull factors. Yeah, so really you just need to mess around with this and we will have time in class to mess around with it. But again, it doesn't matter what yours looks like as long as you represent your master bubble and you have push factors on one side and pull factors on the other. It doesn't matter what side you have them on. It doesn't matter what secondary or tertiary bubbles you use. It doesn't matter the colors or the font or the background, just as long as you make sure that you show what are the push factors, what are the pull factors, what are the reasons someone would leave, and what are some of the experiences that they have in the places that they go. Okay? I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial, and please ask me if you have any questions.